Kadosh, Boker Or, Daf Yomi Masechet Makkot, Daf Kavdaled Amud Aleph, 2481. We're by the two dots. The two dots comes and it says Siman Damesek Ksak. Ba David. David HaMelech came v'midan al 11. Do you know that even though there was Taryag mitzvot, David HaMelech came and he instituted that there's going to be 11 mitzvot. Tichtiv, it says in a pasuk, Mizmor le David, Hashem yagur ba'olecha b'yishkom el-kodecha. Number one, הולך תמים ופועל צדק, דובר הווה מלבבו, לא רגל ללשונו, לא עשה לרעהו לרע, חרפה לא נשא על קרובו, נזהה בעיניו נמאס, ותראה השם יכבד, נשבע להרע ולא ימיר, כספו לא נתן בנשך, ושוחד על נקי לא לקח. עושה אלה, you do these 11 things, לא ימות לעולם, you won't fall. It's incredible, did you realize? Meaning, David HaMelech came and he said that even though there's going to be 613 mitzvot, we're going to base it upon 11 mitzvot. What are the 11 mitzvot? Number one, holech tamim. You have to go betmimut. Hamash, you have to go be betmimut. Number two, poel tzedek. Do always righteousness. Dover min bilvavo. Speak always truth. Lo regal leshono. Don't speak lashon hara. Lo se lo re'ora. Don't do bad to your friend. Cherpa lo nasal krovo. Don't come and embarrass. Nivzeh be'enav nimas. A person that's bazui, which is a rasha, you should look at him badly. Why? Because it's disgusting in your eyes, Rasha. V'tirei Hashem yichabed. You have to respect the people that are Yirei Shamayim. Nishba le'ara v'lo yamir. Right? You have to be misagef et atzmecha. Right? That what? That you shouldn't go against. It means if you're going to come and you're going to swear, don't go against your vow. Kaspol natam eneshech. Don't do ribit. Don't lend out your money with interest. V'shochad al nekilo lakach. And don't take shochad to come and to make the judgment, right, badly. This is not only for judges, not only for Sanhedrin, yeah, this is also for individuals. Okay, so if you do all these things, lo yimot olam. Holech tamim de Avraham. Who's holech tamim? Avraham Avinu. Tichtivit holech tamim. Poel tzedek, who's that? Abba Chilkiyahu. Right? Why? Because when he was working for the Balabait, he wouldn't even answer Shalom. So that's a pshat poel tzedek. Mamash, he didn't want to waste the time of the worker, right? I just said he was a rabbi that when he was working, he was a worker, but he wouldn't even answer you shalom if you said hi to him in the middle of his work. Because if he's working for someone and now you tell him hi and he's going to answer you, he's stealing from the time of the employer, sorry. So therefore, because of that, mamash, he wouldn't even answer shalom. Who's that? Rav Safra. Rav Safra, when somebody wanted to buy something from him, and they asked him, he was in the middle of Kriyat Shema, he wasn't able to answer. So he told him, I want to buy this from you. Okay, I'll give you $100. The guy was quiet. He thought, okay, why is he quiet? He doesn't, 120. Still no response. 130, 150. If Safra finishes the Kriyat Shema, he comes and he tells him, here's 100. Give me only 100. Well, 100. I just offered you even 150. No, the reason why is because that's Dovera Midbi Vavo. That is somebody that mamash is speaking always the truth. Lo ragal leshono is Yaakov Avinu. He says, why? Because he didn't want to be mishaker in order to take the brachot from his brother. Right? And therefore, but the mother obviously said in Ruach HaKodesh, you have to do it this way. But really, Be'emet, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to take it this way. You didn't do your friend something bad. Don't do competition with your friend. You're going to go into your friend's business. You're going to do competition. You're doing something bad to your friend because you're mamash. You're taking away his livelihood. ודאי, לא יראה לאמונה חברו, ודאי זה לעשות. מה? So it says now the Gemara, so Abba Chilkiah, why? Because Abba Chilkiah obviously, right, was such a trustworthy person. Then we spoke about Yaakov Avinu. He wasn't ירד לאמונה חברו, חרפה לא נשא על קרובו, המקרב את קרוביו. Because when you come and you help out your family members that they shouldn't come to Busha, that's what it is. Nivzeh be'enav nimas. It's Chizkiyahu. Why? Chizkiyahu HaMelech came and he dragged the bones of his father, right? Achaz, like a bizayon, b'mitah shel chavalim, because his father was doing avodah zarah. So therefore, that's Nivzeh be'enav nimas. That the people that they do bad, they're disgusting in his eyes. V'tirei Hashem yichabed is Yoshafat melech Yehuda. Sheb'shai she'yorot, when he used to see a Tamid Chacham, hayaomed mikiso, he used to stand up from his throne. Remember, he's a king. He used to stand up from his throne. He used to hug him and kiss him. And he used to call him Rabbi, Mari. He's calling him my rabbi, my master. This is a king. Just that's who it is. Again, we're obviously talking about the greatest of the to illustrate these entire points. Nishba le'arav lo yimek Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan be'tanit at shavo lebeti. He went and he said that he wanted to be in Tanit until and the neder is not going to be chal. He says still, right? Because obviously it wasn't until the Shkiyat HaChama, and therefore it didn't even help. But still, he didn't change from him. Meaning like this: he went and he made a neder. Now you can't make a neder in the middle of the day that you're not going to eat until if you're not going to eat, it has to be until Shkiyah. But he made a neder in such a point that basically it's not going to help the neder, but it's still he would uphold the neder to make sure that he wasn't going to go against his words. He wouldn't even give to the avodah kochavim, because even though the Torah says you're allowed to come and give with interest to the avodah kochavim, he purposely didn't do it, not to get used to it. That he went to that his sharecropper came and gave him his own property, he gave him his own fruits, and he didn't want to judge him. It's written that a person that does this will not fall. He used to cry. Mamash is a perek in Tehillim, by the way. I don't know if you realize. Yeah, this pasuk, right? He's a perek in Tehillim, Tetva 15. So 15, you remember the David HaMelech on the 11. So he says when if a person does all these things, yeah. So he says if a person is going to do these things, they'll never fall. So he says he used to cry. Why? So it's mashma, only if you're going to be mekayem all the 11, then you're not going to fall. But if you're not mekayem all 11, so it's mashma that you will fall. So that's an incredible concept. So because of that, he used to cry. Samrule, they told him, does it say, Ose kol ele? Doesn't say you have to do all of them. Ose ele ktiv. Afilu b'chad minai, even if it's going to be one of them. If you're not going to say this, there's another pasuk. The pasuk says, "Al titameu bechol ele," right? And again, we just read that. So hatam nami anogea bechol ele u'dimitamem bechad minayu lo. It says la be'achat mikol ele. So achanami be'achat mikol elu. It's one of them. That's already enough. Meaning that he was just saying that you have to focus right on these things. So that was the first one, which was David HaMelech. So David HaMelech was 11. Okay. Next, yeah, he says by Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu came. He said no, there's 6. Tichtiv, right? This is again, right? Olech tzedakot, tovev mesharim, mues bebetz ha'ashakot, noer kapav mitmoch beshochad, otem ozno mishmoa damim, yotze menav merov berah. Wow. Right? So what does that mean? Let's go one by one. Olech tzedakot, who does tzedek all the time? Avraham Avinu, dichtiv, ki dativ, zman asher yitzaveh banav, la'asot tzedakah mishpat. Tovev mesharim, you're going to be dover mesharim. What's dover mesharim? You're going to speak good things. You're not going to be mevazeh your friend publicly. Number 3, mues bebetz ha'ashakot. What is that? It's a story of Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha Kohen. He wasn't maskim to be mekabel the matanot kiuna from a person that used to give it to another Kohen, because ki'ilu he was oshek the Kohen Hasheni. Meaning, imagine you had somebody that he always used to give the presents of the kiuna to one Kohen, and now he came to Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha to give it to him. He would say, no, if you always used to give it to that Kohen, don't give it to me. Noel kapav mitmoch b'shochad. Rabbi Shmuel ben Yoseh, he used to do that with a sharecropper. Otem ozno mishmoa damim delo shama beziluta detzur b'merabana v'shatik. Right? He never used to hear a zilzul of a rabbi and keep quiet. That's otem ozno mishmoa damim. Right? Because if somebody's going to come and going to hear the embarrassment, right, of the damim, this is like very dom, right? Damim, to be shotek. So he comes and he says, so therefore, obviously, he has to come and he has to fight for him. He has to actually go and just like Rabbi Elazar ben Shimon, there he was makpid al kach b'yoter. So once what happened is that he didn't rebuke somebody. He heard that they were being mezalzel tamid chacham, and he kept quiet, and he was punished for it. So because he was punished for it, right? They went and they said he went and he commanded his wife shelo tikboroto. They should put it mamash like the body should be in the aliyah, right? Mamash, powerful concept. He was punished. Why? Because he heard, it wasn't that he was mezalzel in the Tamid Chacham. He heard the zilzul of the Tamid Chacham and he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. Okay? Otze menov merod berah, Rav Chia bar Abba. What is Rav Chia bar Abba exactly? That he closed his eyes from looking at bad. Rav Chia bar Abba, ze shenu mistakel benashim b'shah shomdot al kvisa. Right? That he's not going to look at the women when they're going on the river. Right? Why? Because they used to go to the river to wash their clothing. And when they used to wash the clothing, she's not going to go in with all the clothing. So she used to pick up the clothing, make, like a knot or whatever it is, and then go in. But he wouldn't look at the women when they're going there. So he comes and he says, and it's written, right? It says over here, so therefore he says over here that Okay, obviously there's a Maharal, there's everything, which is something incredible, right? So there's a lot of what to speak about over here. Because here we're talking about the Mamash that, does he have another path? Doesn't he have another path? We're talking about here, even if he does have another path, because if he has another path and he goes there, so then imagine that obviously he's a Rasha. Because what's he doing going to the beach if he's able to go not to go to the beach? But obviously we're talking about, one second, he says, obviously we're talking about that there's no path, there's not another path, and still he's going to come and he's going to close his eyes. So and on this it's written, Huminomim Yishkon. What does that mean? He comes and he says, if you're going to do these things, so therefore you're going to be zocheh to minomim. You're going to be, dwelling right amongst the highest of the highs, because obviously this is going to be a great gedula. Okay. So he comes and he says like this. So now comes Micha. Now Micha was one generation after, right, Yeshaya. Okay, one generation after Yeshaya, right? Now he comes and he says, now even though it didn't pass a lot of time, right? But obviously there was a Yiridah Ruchanit, and therefore they wanted to come and they wanted to do something else. So he comes Micha, and Midan and Shalosh. So again, David HaMelech was 11. It went down to 6. Now it went down to 3. Tichtiv yigil lecha la'adam hatov, u'ma Hashem doresh mimecha, ki im aso mishpat v'chesed, chatzne alechet im Elohecha. 3 things. Number 1, aso mishpat. 2, avat chesed. 3, atzne alechet im Hashem Elokecha. So mishpat, zedin, ben adam lechavero. Meaning, you have to do mishpat. Avat chesed, you do gimilut chasadim. And number 3, atzne alechet im Hashem Elokecha, hotzat emet ve'achnasat kala. Right? You're doing these mitzvot of chesed, which is hotzat emet and achnasat kala. There's a whole question, why is that a separate one, if that's also part of the gimilut chasadim v'chule, right? But that's a whole thing about lechet, right? Tov lelechet. Right, but anyway, but the concept though is something incredible, right? That if you realize all these things, is basically ben adam lechavero. So says the Gemara, va'alot dvarim kal v'chomen. Says the kal v'chomen. Umad dvarim she'en darkan lasotam betzina amrat Torah. If certain things you don't do it in tzina, people don't get married betzina, people don't come and they bury betzina. So what's going on? And still the Torah says v'atzne alechet dvarim she'darkan lasot betzina. So things that you do it, for example, giving tzedakah to the ani. That a person should be makpid, that he should do it betzina and not start coming and telling everybody about it. So fine, that was Micha. Then comes Yeshayahu, right? Yeshayahu, right? It was the same generation. Yeah, in the same generation, right? He comes and he says, Ba Yoshiyahu, right? And he went and he said, Al Shtaim, Shneemar Ko Amar Hashem, Shimru Mishpat Vasu Tzedakah. Yeah. Why? Because the pasuk is coming and saying, Ki karov Yeshuati lavo v'tzikato ligalot. So therefore, we're talking about 2 things: mishpat and tzedakah. Ba Amos v'midan alachat. Came Amos and he said, right? I have one. Shneimar ko amar Hashem lebet Yisrael dishur v'chyu. Just look for Hashem, and then you're going to live. So matkif Yitzchak. When is that? When is dirshuni? Kula should be in all the 630 mitzvot. So what does that mean? Ela rather ba Chabakuk v'midan alachat. You're right. Chabakuk came and he went and he did it on 1. Shneimar, but it says in a pasuk. Besadik bemunato yichyeh. If a person has emunah, he has everything. You have emunah. Yeah, the second you're going to have emunah, you have everything. Sadik bemunato yichyeh. Fine. Says the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina. Says Rabbi Yosef Chanina. Arba gezerot gazam Moshe Rabbeinu l'Yisrael. There were 4 different gezerot on Israel. Ba'u arba nevim bitlum, and the nevim came and they annulled them. Moshe comes and he says, Vayishkon Yisrael betach badad en Yaakov, which means when are Yisrael going to be b'bitachon? Right? He says, when they're going to have tzaddikim, like Yaakov Avinu, right? When you're going to have en Yaakov. Ba'amos ubitla. Amos comes and he says, Shneimar, he says, Hashem lokech hadalna, miyakum Yaakov. We can't be like Yaakov. So what's going to happen then? Obviously, we're not going to have, we're smaller than Yaakov. So you're right. Hashem accepted the tefillah, and therefore he was mevatel the gezerah of Moshe. But if not, imagine, we would have to have a Yaakov Avinu in order to have bitachon. If we don't have Yaakov Avinu, chas shalom, it's a problem. Next gezerah, Moshe Amar, uvagoyim ahem lo tagia. Yeah, that with those nations, when you're going to go to Galut, you're not going to have menucha. Yeah, you're not going to be able to breathe. Yeah, so he says, Ba Yirmiyahu v'amar, comes Yirmiyahu and he says, Haloch largio Yisrael. Go, give them the margoa, give them the peace, the tranquility. Right? Fine. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened again. Gezerah shlishit, Moshe Amar poked avon avot al banim, vayechizkelu bitla. He says, the nefesh achotet hi tamut. He's the only one that's going to die. The nefesh achotet, not the son for the tzaddik and everything. Moshe Amar v'avatem bagoyim, you're going to be destroyed amongst the nations when you're going to be put in exile. You're all gonna come back. Meaning that even though we were going to be sent to Galut, we're going to come back. Rav says, Nistafina my krad. You know what? I'm afraid of this pasuk about Vavatem Agoyim. So he says, Matikif of Papa Dilma Kaveda Mitpakesh. Maybe it's like something that you lose that you're looking for from the Baalim. The owners are looking for it. Tichtiv Taiti Kiseh Bakesh Avdecha. You're looking for it. No, you're going to be consumed in the land of your enemies. So Matkif maybe it's going to be like Achila Kishu Nuluin. Maybe you're going to be like you're eating some of them and you're going to leave some of them. So therefore, it's not a raya that you are going to be completely destroyed, because maybe you eat some and they're going to leave over some. So it's in there, they're going to destroy some, they're going to leave over some. He says, do you know that this is something that we mentioned before, right? To do with these, that they were afraid. So there was a story. Yeah, everyone's listening. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Azariah, Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Akiva, right? So they went and they were able to hear what was going on in Rome, which is 120 mil far away. They started crying. What? 120 mil, 120 kilometers. 120 kilometers. Yeah, so they went and they said Rabbi Kiva was laughing. Amrulo, they told him, what are you laughing? Amalemi told him, why are you guys crying? Amrulo, they told him, Alalu Kushim. Right, these are Kushim. Right? Okay, Romiim, they come from Kush. So, no, where they were walking. So he says, Mishtachavim la'atzabim, that they're coming and they're going to be bowing down to Avodah Zarah. Yoshvim betach, right? They're enjoying themselves. Vashket, vanu betadom laglei elokenu, and our Bet HaMikdash is going to be saruf va'esh. We're not going to cry. Amaleh, and he said, Lekacha, you need to check. 24b says that's exactly why I'm laughing. Right? If this is what's going to them, right? He says, if this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does to Ovred Etzono, imagine what he's going to do to the people that and then there was another story. Again, they tear their clothing. Once they go to Har Bayit, they saw Shual coming out of Bet HaKodashim, right? They saw the wolf, and then they came and they started crying. Rabbi Kiva was laughing. They told him, why are you crying? He said, why are you laughing? They said, why are you crying? So then they said, what? It's written that they're not going to come and start crying. So that's exactly why I'm going to come and I'm going to laugh. Right? Why? Because of the testimonies of Zechariah, right, and Uriah, which obviously we're going to speak about, right? And this is the famous story of Akiva coming and consoling, right, the rest of them. Bezat Hashem, we continue. Bezat Hashem.